So we're looking at these redundant stocks, and that's been basically that exhaustive test looking for identical values on the same dates across the stocks has told us that we do need to look and see why there are so many redundancies. Again, so we saved that cleaned file, and so let's see what we've got. Just looking to see. Okay, so I'm making that relative pandas novices thing again. So we're going to open all these individual files again, but actually we're only going to look at the oh, wait a minute, I seem to be in the same one, don't I? I'm sorry. And in fact, I've opened it twice. Let me go. I want redundancy too. Was looking a bit odd with everything being the same again. By the way, if you see this here, basically, it is for a Chrome browser to prevent getting scroll bars in the output lines, in the output cells, so that we can just view everything. So this time we're reading the data we had before. It is exactly the same as we had before, of course. It starts out the same way. So from the previous notebook, these were the pairs that we found, and these were the runs for those. So they all have a fair number of equal values and different numbers of runs. And there's two clearly distinct classes here, those with a very large number of equal values and those with just relatively few. Okay. So this is some code to do some plotting. And we'll look at each one individually, or we may not look at all of them right now, but we'll just do a few here. So this is the chart of ARWR and NHTC. Now let's just look again at what those say. So there's 44 equal values in 5 runs. So looking at this, where do you think the equal values are? Well, we know that there are no zero prices in the database, right? That was Lionel suggested that. But it's very close to the right answer. It's because with very, very small values, there's not much room to be different. So this, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what these values. I didn't quite look at those, but you can look at the ones themselves yourselves to just see where they are. But they're clearly not the same stock. This one's got the same effect, and you can just see where it's a little less obvious here. It doesn't have a flat line at the beginning, but you can see that.
Oh, Roger, let me ask a real question, not a rhetorical question.
Right.
So the issue here is that we actually found 20 days of identical prices between these two symbols, which are unadjusted closing price, 20 unadjusted closing price that match for some reason over these 20 days, but they are actually two different stocks. These are real coincidences, right? They are not bugs.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Indeed.
Good.
So, yes. So we'll just quickly look at a few more of these. Okay, again, the same sort of pattern. And these are the ones that, right, again, so all of these ones here, by the way, there's WETF, the one with the extremely small values. And so there's a clear and emerging trend here. So we'll look at one more of these with the largest number of matches in 19 different places. Again, they're clearly different, and it's just coincidence. Right? The chart strongly suggests that the matches are happening early on when the prices are very low, probably in the pennies. So you might want to verify this. So we end up with 5 pairs that have a good chance of being related. CPRI and Coors, Goog and Google, GBI, OPI, MLND, OVS, and WLBA and WLBAQ. Now, these are clearly related. And, of course, the Q at the end of a symbol means that it was in bankruptcy, still trading and trying to recover. So let's have a look at Coors and CPRI. That doesn't look very helpful, does it? So the overlap obscures the relationship. So we'll plot the pair and the remaining ones in this group with an offset between the two so that we actually get an idea. Wait a minute. Not quite sure what happened there. And did I, well, okay. It should have an offset. And the offset is 10. And that should definitely be visible. Something has gone slightly wrong there. Anyway, let me continue. So looking on the internet, you see that, in fact, that Capri Holdings is what Michael Kors Holdings became. So basically, we need to choose one of these, and the one we choose, since they've been backfilled, what we want to do is look at a few values. The real issue is where these two are different. Unfortunately, we're not seeing them on the chart. So we look at so something's happened here that has made the two of them the same. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. We'll leave that one. Let's look at Goog and Google instead. Something has happened to my offset code. This is not making any sense to me.
No worries. We can always upload the corrected code late after that.
Yeah. Okay. I will try to fix that later. Right. Yeah. Somehow the data has. I've been fighting this actually all along, in the sense that as you progress through these different notebooks, you make all of these changes, and if somehow you end up with a change that is affected in a later notebook, appearing in an earlier notebook. Anyway, with Google. Yep.
Liano reports that the code he runs works fine from the repository. Only your local code is not working.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Good. Well, you see the principle here anyway, right? They both override each other if you chart them together, and so just add a certain amount to one, so that you see the two traces on the charts, and it makes clear in a lot of cases what's happening. And as we discussed before, the Google one was that, and this is the actual one of the actual reports on it, that they wanted more control, so they split the stock, and so they created a new non-voting Class C, and that one got the Goog ticker, while the Class A has the Google ticker. All right, and it's all about the control. So the change was made in March 2014. So we'll have a look at this, the data around about then. I'm getting a little concerned that somehow these two have become identical. And something's happened. They have become identical. So hopefully the code on the repository is not doing this. And I have no explanation for why this would have happened. I'm a little concerned.
So Roger, Deanna just explain what happened to the code in the chat window.
Oh, I see. Okay, very good. Yeah. Thank you. Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this, so it will work for you using the data. So, and let's just get down to the decisions, what's happening. But in these cases, basically the point is those with very large numbers of identical values, unadjusted values, need to be investigated, and you need to make a decision about which one to keep and which one not to. And in each of these cases, so that just going to the decisions at the bottom, and if you read through the notebook when it's functioning, then these are the ones that the actual symbols we decide to remove. Now, GOOGL is the one that we retain, but as Ernie pointed out, it's the new stock, and it has been backfilled, and I imagine CSI did this, possibly for very good reasons. It was backfilled with the values essentially derived from GOOG, and an important point is that the main distinction between these two is that GOOG has very, very low volume for a few days at the changeover time, so that if you were using a strategy that was using volume, that would be an anomaly. So just from practical point of view, using the symbol with the L on the end is the one to use. Okay, so what we will do is just do this removal so that we have the correct file for the next section.
Right. Before we go on, Roger, let me make a comment. When I was when I was running some back test before this course, okay, I thought that I was smart in trying to run a similar algorithm to find this duplicate time series. Actually, when I was doing casual, and I didn't find too many. Particularly, I missed GOG and GOGL. I said, okay, no problem. And now, after Roger, put its, work into it, we realized that what I was missing is that I was applying that algorithm to find duplicate stocks on the adjusted close. So obviously, they look different because the adjustment takes place at different times. So the adjusted close look different, and they did not detect this duplicate. So once again, I emphasize that these this kind of duplicate finding algorithm has to be run on unadjusted prices. Otherwise, you will miss them.
Okay, so here's a couple of the conclusions that we found in that notebook when operating correctly. So you had a symbol change. The other one was just due to bankruptcy. And the more recent one is the one with the Q on it, and it's backfilled with the WLBA data.